very warm welcome back to the DT Performance YouTube channel. I've been away for a little while, really busy with sales, really busy with preparing cars, but we've finally had a chance to catch up with what we really like doing alongside the selling and the preparing of the cars, is showing the customers, prospective customers, people that are interested in what we have and what we do. So I decided today to come out in our 991 Targa 4 GTS. So one of the first videos I ever did was on a 991 GTS coupe with an aero kit in lava orange. Very cool car. And there's several reasons why I wanted to come out in this GTS. Bullet points about this car, the car that I'm in today. A Targa 4 GTS, it's a 1515 Gen 1. So 3.8 naturally aspirated, same engine, same gearbox, everything set up as the other GTS that I drove. Very different to the newer Gen 2 GTS, which is a 3-litre turbo. So output of this car is 430 horsepower. As I said, naturally aspirated, so that's 35 horsepower up on the same engine in a standard Carrera 4 or a Targa 4 or whatever it might be, S. Torque's the same, everything else. Revs a little bit higher, so they've moved the torque band, moved all the power band and everything else, so it's a slightly more linear power to the top. Power's right at the top there. Does rev a little bit higher, not an awful lot, about 500 revs, but you really can notice that, you know, when you're really high up, giving the car a bit of stick. On roads like this, down the country lanes, or on the motorway. For those of you who know, I've just bought a GT3 991. I absolutely adore it. It's the best car I've ever owned, so I'm a massive Porsche advocate now. And the whole reason, well, one of the big reasons why I bought that car, the biggest contributing factor was driving that GTS in lava orange that we had in. It blew me away. Yes, the GT3 is more hardcore and more powerful and everything else, but the way I saw it, if I fell in love with this, I would fall in love with the GT3 and vice versa. I'm getting in this now. There's actually a lot of positives for this over mine. Mainly the gearbox, the way the gearbox is set up. It's a true PDK. It's absolutely gorgeous to drive. Very comfortable. Very smooth power delivery. Very smooth gear changes. The suspension setup's obviously slightly more forgiving as well. That's what I adore about the GTS. They've managed to get that hybrid between the Carrera S being a very usable, comfy, everyday car, and a GT3, which is quite a hardcore car designed for the track. This is, and I've said it before, and I apologise for this phrase, but it is a good halfway house, and it drives so well. So other than the things that I've already said about the GTS over the Carrera S, Carrera 4S, power's up to everything else. Things you get as standard, things that make it a little bit different. So you get Sports Chrono Plus. Sports Chrono Plus gives you the clock on the dashboard, which is, you know, something that people, even if they don't know what it does, they want to have on the car because it's become this part of owning a Porsche. You have to have chrono. It's part of a thing that you need in your Porsche. With that Sports Chrono Plus, you get your launch control and everything else within that. That's a fantastic feature of this car. Yes, we're not going to use it very often, but it's awesome to say you've got it. Bragging rights down the pub, and it really does get the car on the road very cool. I'll show the launch control in the car. The car's also got a very cool feature called torque vectoring. Now, torque vectoring is something I came across in Jaguar about 5 years ago, where what the car's doing, and forgive me, an engineer will probably tell me that I'm not being quite technical here or not describing it in exactly the right way, but what the car does is when you're going into a corner or on a racetrack, on a road, whatever it will be, is the car pushes the outside wheel at a faster rate to the inside wheel, so it will slightly brake the inside wheel and slightly accelerate the outside wheel to pull you round the corner. The nearest thing I can liken that to is back in the day an old school differential in a car, front wheel drive car. When you go around a corner with a differential car, you'd go in, you'd accelerate it, pull you in harder. That's kind of what the torque vectoring does on the car. It's a very cool feature. It makes the car very capable, but what it does is it makes it feel more sure-footed and makes you look like a hero. You know, if you'd have driven a Porsche this fast, 10 or 15 years ago, you had to be a properly brave person, because they were very, very hard cars to drive fast on the limit in a corner. This does it very, very well. Combined with the four-wheel drive system, it's absolutely fabulous. So another feature that we all like to have on the cars now, selectable exhaust. So the button will manually keep it shut, manually keep it open to give a louder or a quieter noise. The car at the moment's completely shut. Press the button down here. Instantly gets a little bit boomier, you know a valve's opened. Until I give it some in a moment, you won't really hear the main differences. But obviously a really good feature to have, mainly if you want to keep it quiet. At the end of the day, we all have neighbours, we want to keep the sound down on the cars, residential areas, things like that. You don't want to be known to be thrashing the car around. So that's a cool feature to have. And at the opposite end of that spectrum, if you want to make a load of noise, press the button, it'll do it. So the Targa's an interesting car. A lot of people don't necessarily know what it is. Targa came about in the 60s, 70s. It was quite a different car. I don't think a lot of people really knew what it was. A lot of people will know it as a T-bar in other model of cars. So the nice thing about the car is you get a very, very cool and practical glass dome at the back, and then you get a folding electric top in the middle. So it's just the bit in the middle here that makes it an open top car. The best bit about it is that when it's closed, you would forget that you've got a convertible. All right, you'd think it was a hard-top car. But the nice bit about it is when you move that back, you'd swear you were in a convertible, but you've still got no drawbacks. You've got no drawbacks, no issues at all with calling it a convertible. It's also whilst it's a fabric section, it's very hard. There's no giving it like on the convertibles, which is susceptible to knives, low practicality, all sorts of drawbacks on it. It's really, really cool. I really, really rate it, and it's never something that was on my radar until I drove this car, and I realised its massive pros, and the drawbacks were virtually none. It's really cool. Just listen to that exhaust. I'm only tickling it. Just going through these lovely villages. Such a good noise. That gearbox is absolute lightning. It's as good as the GT3 box, but it's more practical. I have to say I prefer it to mine by a long way. A long, long way. I'm going to do launch control now as promised. Coming up to the end of the video, so it will only be fair to do it now. Gets off the line way better than my GT3. It may not have quite the power and finesse of how it does it, but my god, that's properly fast. Going a long way back. These are some wicked lanes. It should be quite loud down here. Any person that says this is not a true GT car is delusional. Well, that's all from me, folks. I want to say, absolutely genuinely, this has been an absolute pleasure being in this car. I've adored it for so many more reasons than I probably thought I would. it lives up to everything I probably expected and more, but for different reasons. I didn't expect it to be this good. I didn't expect it to be this fast. And it feels better, dare I say it, than that lava orange coupe that we had. I don't know why. I don't think it should, but it does. And that's not taking anything away from that car, because it was perfect. But there's something about the Targa, the open top, that makes me like it more. I would genuinely buy this car if I didn't have my car, my GT3 did. Genuinely.